My name is Deja, and I hope you find serenity.
I hope you find serenity. I hope you find serenity.
Peace and greetings, y'all. Welcome back to another moment in time with me, Deja Serenidad. Thank you for being here. You saw it in the title. A lot of people do be asking me about my diet, and a lot of people assume that I am a vegan. So let's talk about it. No, I am not a vegan. I was vegan for 2 years, so not super long. And before being vegan, I was vegetarian for, I think it was about a year and a half, close to 2 years. So yeah, overall, I did go a good, strong period of time without eating any meat at all. And I was strictly vegan for 2 years of my life. I started in 2020 when I did a retreat with these incredible human beings, my absolute besties, Cosmic and Nurture of the Holy Haven. If you have not heard of them, you need to wake up. You need to check out their YouTube, check out their Instagram. They're the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing. They are my inspiration. I came to this part of Costa Rica to do a retreat with them, and I never left. They are vegan chefs, and they are incredible with food. They make food with so much love. So all of their retreats, of course, are fully plant-based because they make all the food. And I had eaten vegan before because, it's really not that hard, y'all. Like, to eat a meal, well, I had already been vegetarian. And in that time, it's not like every meal was including eggs or cheese. So I absolutely ate a lot of things that were vegan before I officially was like, okay, now I'm a vegan. Like, now I'm not going to eat any eggs or dairy. But when I did the retreat with them and I tasted their food, to be honest, it was the best food I've ever tasted. To this day, some of my favorite things I've ever eaten have been food from them. And because it was vegan, I was like, oh, like, I could totally live like this, I could totally eat full-time plant-based. And as well, of course, that's their lifestyle full-time, and they are really serious about being vegan. And not serious in a way of like coercion, which some people who are not vegan get so uncomfortable with vegans like talking about the benefits of veganism. But no, they just straight up talk about all of these different things that they have learned through their own research, and also their own health, and how their bodies have improved and how their health has improved since becoming plant-based. So all of this, as I was taking it in, as I was doing my retreat with them, I was like, I like it. I'm gonna do it. So I was with them for, I think, 10 days, eating fully vegan. And then once that 10 days was up, I just stayed vegan. I didn't go back until after the 2 years. So in this video, I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about my journey with veganism and also why I'm no longer a vegan. And I just want to do a disclaimer and say this is not going to be one of those videos that's going to be slandering veganism or anti-veganism. I'm not anti-veganism, even though I am not a vegan. I have watched other videos like this. I've done some research. There's so much out there. So it's honestly like, it's hard to say which research is right, because I've seen videos with clear research showing why we are meant to consume meat. And I've seen clear videos explaining why we're not meant to eat meat. I want to talk to you a little bit about it spiritually as well. And also just about how it is what it is. Whatever diet works for your body, if it's working within your system, then I'm happy for you. And I don't think that there's any one diet that is for every single one of us throughout humanity. Okay? So yes. Like I said, after my Holy Haven retreat, I decided to stay vegan. At the time, I did a retreat with my friend Sabrina, and they became vegan right there with me. We both were inspired by Cosmic and Nurture and decided to be full-time vegan after that. And then we were roommates briefly after that for like maybe a few months. I can't even remember exactly. I think it was a few months we were roommates. So then we're both like baby vegans, like cooking up a storm, like making so many different things. So it was a really lovely, inspiring time. Sabrina's also no longer a vegan. They are an ex-vegan along with me. So it's nice to have an ally. It's nice to have an ally because it is a hard transition. But yeah, so during that time, what I loved about going vegan was that it really taught me how to cook. Like, I could cook a bit before that, but I wouldn't say it was like, I don't know, like I could cook basic stuff. I wouldn't say I was super skilled. And in fact, when I was in college, like I didn't have a lot of experience cooking. That was my first time really cooking on a regular basis for myself. And I felt like, oh my gosh, like I need to learn how to cook. Like I need to learn more stuff. Like I was trying to figure out like what else I could make besides the basic things I was fed throughout my childhood. I also had some inspiration in college because my best friend Courtney, we were roommates in college, and she's the first person I ever met that ate vegan. She was vegetarian, and for a while she was also vegan, and she was the first person who even said the word vegan to me. I didn't even know what that was. Like I had heard of many times of vegetarians. Like shout out to Chelsea from That's So Raven, the OG vegetarian. But yeah, so when I was roommates with her, I did see her eating without meat, and I was like, oh, true, like meat doesn't have to be in every meal, you know. And hearing her talk about veganism, and also seeing her and seeing that she was a very healthy person, and still is to this day, that really inspired me as well. But I didn't like go vegetarian at the time, but I could still eat meals that didn't include meat, because that's one of those things, like when you grow up with the like standard American diet, a lot of it's first of all processed, and so much of it revolves around the meat. The meat is the main part of the meal. So so I had some inspiration in college, but then when I was living in Spain, I lived in Spain briefly for 1 year. So I kind of had a hiatus from Costa Rica. I came to Costa Rica in 2017, lived here for a year and some months, and then I went to Madrid, Spain to get my master's degree, and I only stayed in Spain for like 10, 11 months. So, and then I came back to Costa Rica. So I wasn't even gone from Costa Rica for a whole year before I returned. However, during my time in Spain, I dated a Spanish guy, and he wasn't vegetarian or vegan, but he had been vegan. So he again like brought up this word vegan to me, but the diet didn't work for him. He was also a really like petite, like small guy. So he was like, yeah, he lost way too much weight and he needed to like incorporate some meats, but he ate a lot of vegan meals and vegetarian meals because he had that experience of being vegan. He didn't eat meat that much. So also while I was dating him and eating with him, I started, you know, incorporating vegan meals. And also we loved this vegetarian restaurant, and it was actually my favorite restaurant in Madrid. And I used to go there all the time. Actually, not thinking about it, it was also vegan because there was no cheese or dairy. But in my mind, I was calling it a vegetarian place, but it was actually a vegan place. But yeah, it was my favorite place to go. I also really got into falafel there, like getting the falafel kebabs, you know, from like the Mediterranean spots. So again, like before even becoming vegan, I already started to open my mind to, okay, there's other things that you can eat. And even there, when I was in Spain, I was also cooking more and like trying to get into like, what else can I cook? But now once I met Cosmic and Nurture of the Holy Haven, and I saw how they made food and how it included so many plants and they were so creative, it really, really opened my mind. And that's one thing I will always appreciate about my time being a vegan, because I am a bomb-ass chef now. Like, I'm not a chef, but I can cook. Like, I feel completely confident in my ability to make food and for people to enjoy it. So thanks to them, because them teaching me just their basics, I used what I already knew, what I learned from them, and then just further intuition. And I'm like, okay, now I get it. Like, I already knew how to season stuff, but now I get like, okay, I can incorporate lentils. This is how I can incorporate more chickpeas. This is how I incorporate like flour to do different types of things, and even using different types of flour. Also, they put me on to actually looking at ingredients and the stuff I was buying. Like, how did I never do that? They really got me into like actually checking like what's even in here, even like looking at bags of chips and all sorts of things, because they eat so clean. So I will always give thanks for that, because it helped me create a lot of healthy habits and just become conscious of, okay, what is the source of my food? Where does it come from? And what's even in it? And how much of the stuff in it is even actually food? So yeah, it was really good. And even during my time being vegan, I'm not into like the fake soy burgers and stuff. That is just something about it don't sit right with me. I'm not a big soy person in general. So I was really like, no, I don't even want processed vegan food. Even the fake cheeses, I don't even like that stuff. Like, if I want to eat a burger, like while being vegan, it's going to be a lentil burger. It's going to be a bean burger. It's going to be a beet burger. Like, it's going to be made out of something that I saw it, I cut it up, I made the mix, and now I'm eating the burger, right? So it's also that it's like getting back to like being plant powered. So of course I learned so much from that. I was like watching so many videos, watching YouTube stuff. I was very about that life. I thought I was going to be vegan for the rest of my life. And I'm already the hippie of my family, but I was telling my family about how they all need to go vegan. I wasn't being too annoying. I was explaining to them how many health benefits it has and how a lot of the things that they were having problems with could be solved if they just went vegan. So I stand by that. I still believe veganism is a really good way to heal from diseases and to heal the body. Because in my time being vegan, I mean, if you go back to like my older YouTube videos, which mostly they're lock videos, but yeah, like if you see anything from 2020, 2021 and early 2022, I was vegan during that time. And you can see like I was thinner and you can see that I looked very vibrant and healthy. Hopefully I still do. I still feel vibrant and healthy. However, at that time, you know, I felt really, really good. But we reached a point in the second year of me being vegan where I started to have this experience of like every single time I stood up, I like blacked out. Like I felt like I was gonna faint. And it was every time I stood up. Like if I was sitting as low as I'm sitting right now and I just stood up quickly to do something, I would get dizzy and I would like things would go black for just a second, you know? And it was so, like I said, every single time I stood up quickly to the point where I'm like, something is up with me, you know, something is up with me. And I'm not here to even place blame, but I will say like, since not being vegan, that has never happened. And I also will say it could be that there were more things I needed to incorporate into my diet, even as a vegan, that I wasn't incorporating. But from the space of only eating plants, I wasn't figuring out exactly the right balance from me. I did lose a lot of weight to the point of actually being kind of like, okay, because I've always been kind of like a little thick. I know y'all mostly just see me from here, but I'm kind of you can see in my arms, like I'm kind of a thick girl, you know. I'm not petite and I never have been. That was like the skinniest I've ever been actually was during the time that I was vegan. I was losing the booty. I said, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. I'm being silly, but seriously, like as far as like how I feel in my body, I do like to have just a little weight on me. You know what I mean? Like I've never been like super big, you know, which if you are still loved and worthy of love. But as far as like my own comfort within my body, I've always had some, you know, just some weight on me. Like I've always had ass. I've always had ass and thighs. And just a little, you know, a little something to hold on to. I always had that. But when I was vegan, all that was gone. I was skinty. So yeah, mostly it was the lightheadedness, not really loving the way I looked at my body. And also I started having so many dreams about eating meat. I was dreaming about it, salivating at the mouth. And even in my dreams, I was seeing things come up. Like I remember one dream in particular that I was kind of in this like fair type of thing where there's all these different stands with foods and it's all just meat stands. And I'm like in line to like get like a hot dog, which I will say I have not returned to hot dogs. That's one thing I'm still not eating because what the fuck even is that? But in the dream, I really was about to get this hot dog. And I remember as I was waiting in line, I like saw some of my friends, you know, some of my friends who are vegan. Also, like not just my friends from the Holy Haven, but like most of my friends here are vegan as well. So we kind of have like a little kind of group of people that when we eat together, we always eat vegan and like support each other in that. So out of our group, me and like one other person, or maybe at this point 2 or 3, but they came later, are not vegan. So I felt shame. In the dream, I was so scared because I saw them and I didn't want to tell them what I was in line to get, but I really wanted to get this meat. And as I processed that dream, I was like, wow, like somewhere in my subconscious mind, I feel ashamed of my desire to eat meat again. I feel ashamed of my desire to like eat stuff that's not vegan. And one thing about me is I'm going to release the shame, you know, and it's, to be honest, it's still something I move through because to this day, when I'm with my friends, I won't eat non-vegan food in their presence, right? Because that's the thing too, is like, it's not like because I'm eating meat again that I need it in every meal. Absolutely not. In fact, I can't even eat it in every meal. I don't even eat meat every day. It's just, I like to allow myself to have it when I feel deeply called to have it. But when I'm with my friends, I just eat vegan because it's also delicious, it's healthy, and I have no issue with it. So I really mostly will just eat vegan whenever I'm with them. And even especially if I'm cooking something for my friends, obviously it's going to be plant-based because they only eat plant-based. But yeah, I have to continue to move through that shame of like being one way and then changing, feeling like before I was saying like, this is the only way to go, this is the healthiest way to go, and now eating differently and still being able to like make healthy choices and feel good within my body, and also feel good mentally and spiritually, to be okay with what I'm doing. So let's get in a little bit into the spiritual aspect of it. So obviously a lot of people go vegan not just for health reasons, but because energetically and spiritually, like, there has been an overkill of animals. There's a lack of balance. There's too much animal slaughter, and the way animals are being treated, that are being mass produced to maintain the demand for meat, in particular in like the Western world, but all over the world really, but especially in the Western world, the way that they're handling their meat, it's very out of alignment if you are a spiritual being who recognizes that animals are a piece of God too. Animals have a soul, and animals, deserve love and respect and care. So I really respect and honor that people will refrain from eating meat just to reduce the demand, in hopes of saving the lives of some of these animals, in hopes of reducing the need for these slaughterhouses and all these things. And I still stand by that. Even now, like I said, I have reincorporated meat into my diet, but I don't be eating meat like that. Like, it's not gonna be every single day. It's definitely not gonna be every single meal. I also, so in some way, there's still within me this understanding of like, yeah, the way that meat is being harvested, it's lost its sacredness. Because also I'm looking back at like, ancestral times and the ways that we have always consumed animals, but we've not always consumed them the way that we do now. An animal like a cow, for example, one cow can feed a village for time, more than one meal. So it's only one sacrifice to nourish many, 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 many lives. And also, if you honor the cow in its life and allow it to live a good life, care for it, feed it well, and then find that aligned moment to be like, okay, it's time for you to give your life so that we can be nourished by your body. And someday when our bodies are laid back into the earth, we will be the grass and we will nourish you again. And it's all a part of the cycle. For me, that is sacred. And I honor that. I honor that the life that animals give and the life that I shall someday give, So I don't think it's innately wrong to consume animals. And when I was vegan, I did. And even before, when I became vegetarian, I did feel like it was wrong. But now I've come to a place of like, and I've also been able to witness animals being slaughtered, in particular chickens. And I see like there's some peacefulness in it when it's done with intention, when it's done with love, and when it's done especially like within a homestead situation and not like mass killings. So now that I've been able to, release my shame of consuming an animal, consuming another life, in comes then, okay, but let me like try to be intentional about what's the source of my food. And whenever I'm consuming anything, whether it be an animal who's given their life or a plant who has given their life to nourish me, I'm giving much thanks to that plant. I'm giving much thanks to that animal. And I don't take it lightly that what I'm consuming has given life for me to be nourished. So yeah, and that's the thing too, as far as like plants are alive too. I understand with animals, it's different because they bleed and, they feel so much more related to us because they birth children and all these things. But The thing is, plants breathe, plants birth children. It's just such a different form than us that we don't see them in the same way. And in the same way that we're mass producing, animals for slaughter, we mass produce plants for food as well. And it's like we're, producing so that we can consume, producing and consuming, producing and consuming. So whether it be plants or animals, in general, I feel like what humanity needs is to just do it all with much more love and intention, including with the plants, even asking permission of the plants, and of course growing them organically if possible. So yeah, there's so much there to unpack. And it can be overwhelming when you're trying to like do the right thing. And actually, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to really, really be super strict in your diet. It takes a lot of discipline. So much respect to those of you who are super disciplined. But there's this part of me that also wants some freedom. I want some freedom, some space. I don't want to feel like I have to go into a space and have a hard time figuring out what I'm going to eat. I don't want to feel like when I go see my family, I have to now cook a whole separate meal because they refuse to accommodate for my diet. I love the freedom of just being like, someone is offering me a plate of food and me being able to receive that with love and gratitude and have honor and respect for everything that's on the plate, from the Brussels sprouts to the piece of chicken. And send it my love, consume it, release it, and send it back to the earth where it's going to create more life. It's that cycle of life, accepting it. And that's the funny thing too with like this spiritual journey, is because when you're first having your awakening, everything is very serious. And you're like looking at all the principles and you're like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, I need to do that. And then it reaches a point though where it's like, none of this matters. Life is what I make it. And it's how I'm perceiving it. I can perceive it from this point of view or from this point of view. And that's going to create my experience. And that's that. And that's that. There could be people who think being vegan is crazy. And they look at vegans like, you shouldn't be doing that. And then that's their point of view. And so that's the world that they're going to live in. And vice versa. Vice versa, there can be vegans who are like, look at those meat eaters. They ain't shit. They gonna die soon. They gonna get cancer. La, 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 la. Like, okay, well then that's gonna be the reality that you live in. And I love living in this more neutral ground of like, I love you, my vegans. I love you, my meat eaters. Like, honestly, do you. And I feel like I'm in a beautiful and comfortable space in between. There was something else I wanted to say. Déjame recordarme. All right, so I forgot what I was going to say, but maybe it'll come back. But I wanted to share a few other things that I'm remembering about my shift. I basically want to talk about the transition from being vegan to not. So first of all, the way it happened was I went on a retreat. I was receiving, not giving a retreat. And it was in a space that was all vegetarian, vegan meals. The only thing that was really not vegan was that they included eggs. So in the risings, we would have breakfast, like group breakfast. And there would be a variety of things, mostly like fruits, maybe some bread. And then there would always be either boiled eggs or scrambled eggs. And when I walked into the first day of breakfast and smelled the eggs, they smelled so good to me. And eggs are something that when I became vegan, I was grossed out by eggs. I thought they were so disgusting. I couldn't believe people were still eating them. But this day, it was like, it went into my nose. Like how in cartoons, like the smell just goes in, you're like of a pie or something, and someone like floats over to the pie. Like, that's how I felt about these scrambled eggs. They smelled so delicious. So the first day I didn't eat them. It might have even been the second day I didn't eat them. I just was smelling them and like within myself feeling like my body is smelling that and is saying, I want that. My body is saying, I want that. So I think it was day 3 when I finally like went for the scrambled eggs. Y'all, when I tell you, I got like this much scrambled eggs. Like it was one bite, like, cause I was so scared because I was vegan and I was like, I'm vegan, I can't do this. I had already been having the dreams and having some realizations, but I was like scared because I felt shame still of not being vegan because I was shaming others for not being vegan. So that's why I was then pointing that at myself, like, you can't eat that, that's not vegan. But anyways, I got this tiny little bit of scrambled egg. I put it in the center, like on the side of my plate, went to eat. I ate like a bunch of fruit first. Like I'm eating everything else and I'm just looking at the eggs. And then I finally feel like, okay, I'm going to eat this. So I take my fork and I take a bite of this egg. And it was so delicious. It was so good, y'all. Like it opened me up because I wasn't afraid anymore. I was like, that was yummy. That feels good. I'm going to get a little bit more. So I got just a little bit more egg. And I was like, I think I'm ready to start eating eggs again. So from then on, throughout the retreat, you know, not every day, but some of the days I was eating eggs. And I remember for one day they made some dish. It's like a Jewish dish. I can't remember the name of it, but it's got like boiled eggs in it. And it's like this homemade like tomato sauce. Oh my God, it was really delicious. It was like my favorite thing that I ate there. But I was able to eat it because I decided to eat eggs again, and I removed the restriction of being vegan. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you about, like removing restrictions and the liberation that I felt in that. So once I removed that restriction, I'm able to eat this dish that I otherwise would have denied. And it was like my favorite thing that I ate the whole retreat. And it was absolutely delicious. So from then on, I was eating eggs again. After that, I think I bought eggs for the first time, and I like made like an egg sandwich at home. And I was like, oh yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. And so, yeah, removing that restriction, there's something about that was so liberating for me. It allowed me to feel this sense of like, nothing is going to stop me from nourishing myself. Okay. And fasting is perfectly fine. So sometimes if you can't find food that feels appropriate, you can of course fast. You don't have to eat nothing at all. But me, I love to eat. So I want to be able to enjoy. I want to be able to eat with my family and these different things. So I really felt good about removing this restriction. And even this label of I'm a vegan and all of the connotations that come with it, how people are going to now be perceiving me because of that. And whether it's they perceive me well or not. I just am like, stop putting these labels on me. Don't label me. Let me just be what I am. I might want to eat vegan for 60 days straight. And then the day after that, I might want to eat some chicken wings. And I don't want to be eating my chicken wings and people looking at me like, ain't you vegan? Because no, I'm not. I just am a human nourishing my body. That's all I am. And sometimes I'm nourishing it for pleasure. And sometimes I'm nourishing it for like healing. And sometimes I'm nourishing it by fasting, by giving it a break altogether from consuming anything. But anyways, I began eating eggs again. And it was a great journey. Like I said, I went several months. It's like, it's so long ago at this point. Now this is in 2022 when I started eating eggs. And it's now 2025. So I've been not vegan since that journey, like for much longer than I was vegan. And so I don't remember exactly how long it was, but I feel like it was several months of just eating eggs. I'm like, I can't even remember exactly the first time I ate meat, but I had been thinking about it. I thought about it. And actually, one of my favorite creators on YouTube, her name used to be Earth Mama Medicine, but now it's Valadia Organica. If you don't know, you should totally check out her channel. And she's an herbalist, and I feel so connected to her because she's like in Georgia, and she grew up a theater kid, and that's like my story as well. And now she's like super into like healing and holistic medicine and stuff like that. So she made a video about not being vegan anymore. And she's somebody who I watched her cooking videos for vegan foods. And I watched her talk about veganism on YouTube. And right at the time when I was like, oh my God, I'm not vegan anymore. Like I was having an identity crisis. She dropped a video about not being vegan anymore. And when I watched that video, it was so much confirmation that, wow, this is somebody who inspires me, who I see as a very healthy individual, who lives a beautiful life, you know, and they're not vegan. Because that was the thing too, you know, I'm very inspired by my friends Cosmic and Nurture and the way they live their life, and they're vegan. So it felt like the standard. But then I recognized that there are other people who I am inspired by, who I see as being very healthy, who look good in their bodies, and like as far as they express, they feel good in their bodies, and they're not vegan. They even consume, animal products. So that just helped me too to break, from this belief that was limiting me, this belief that the only healthy people are vegan. That's just not true. That's just not true. And then I started noticing some of my friends here, like, who are extremely healthy, who look good, body T, and they eat meat. Like, I just was like, wow, like, and also it's not just even about the body. It's also like mentally where these people are, like how conscious they are, how aware they are, how kind they are, how they treat people. And I'm like, oh, that's a great person right there. So it's not just one way to be, basically. So that removed me from limitations. It gave me space. So after some time of like opening up, first mentally, I had some meat for the first time. Oh, I believe it was an empanada that I ate. It was a chicken empanada that I ate. That was the first meat I had. Child, it was so good. I could eat a chicken empanada right now. It was so, so, so delicious. And I felt good. Like, I didn't get sick. I wasn't throwing up. I wasn't like having like problems with my stomach. My bowel movements continued to be normal. So I was like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. So the transition physically was totally fine. Physically, like, I of course started to gain weight after about a year of being back into eating meat. I started to gain a little bit more weight, but nothing that felt out of alignment for me. And I just felt good. Like, I wasn't feeling sick at all. The only big thing with the transition was the mental transition, like the first time I ever mentioned to my friends that I wasn't vegan anymore, like feeling some shame still, feeling shy to tell my friends who think that meat is bad for you that I eat it now. And also kind of releasing even that, because I'm in this body and they're in their bodies. We're all connected. We're all one. But by me consuming meat, I'm not going to hurt their bodies. So it's like, it's all love, like I'm just going to do me and you do you. I know that when you feed me, it's going to be vegan. I know that when I feed you, it's going to be vegan. So it really ain't nothing to worry too much about. So yeah, and I have been really happy with it. And one other thing, because I feel like this video is getting long, but it's like, it's whatever. If this is what's coming up, we here to kiki and chat. And I do really want to hear from y'all in the comments how this is sitting with you. How many of y'all thought I was vegan? Have any of y'all been through this? Like, are any of y'all ex-vegans or ex-vegetarians or new vegans or new vegetarians? So yeah, the transition was mostly mental. But one thing about when I was vegan, I also was just overall like getting more into holistic medicine. So when I was getting my period, my menstruation, I stopped taking pain pills also, not long before becoming vegan, because I was trying to get out of the habit of needing pain pills every time I got on my period. I was also like reconnecting with my bleed and these sorts of things and learning about my body. And one thing I learned during that time was that fasting is my key with having my menstruation. Like, I have to fast the first day, like no food at all, only water. And even the day before it starts, also like eating really light, eating raw foods only. And that really allows me to not have pain. But otherwise, especially if I'm eating, like I have extreme pain. But I will say that during the time that I was vegan, I had the most painful periods of my life. And I want to say a part of it could be because it was not long before that I transitioned off of taking pain medicine. But I will say I continued to not take pain medicine when I started consuming meat and dairy again. And I still was not ever having anything even close to the level of pain that I experienced while I was vegan. Again, I'm one person. Everyone's body is different. So it could be that, you're a vegan and you have pain-free periods, and that's great. That's your life. That's your body. But for me, the most excruciatingly painful periods of my life, like I would be completely MIA on the first day of my cycle, in so much pain. and I was eating so good. So I'm like, what is going on with me? You know, and I learned, of course, like, okay, I need to fast. And that did help a little bit. But once I started just eating eggs, even before I started with the meat, just eating eggs again, I noticed that my period was less painful. I still practiced the fasting, so I still would not eat anything the first day at all. But just having that, whatever it is that eggs give you, I'm not a scientist, people. I'm just a human. But yeah, whatever it is that they were giving me, it was really like supportive for my body. And even starting to eat meat again, you know, my periods are in general way, way less painful. So yeah, I will say that there were some health benefits. Another thing I went through while I was vegan was this skin problem. I share about it in my blog series. I was getting like, they call it hijo del sol here. It was like a skin fungus, and it's like I had all these white spots here and on my face and stuff like that. And also, when I started consuming other things, it actually started to clear up. It wasn't just that. It was also like I was topically healing it with tea tree, and especially with lavender essential oil. I think that really helped a lot. So I'm not sure if it's completely related, but since I have not been vegan anymore, I also haven't had any skin problems, you know. So yeah, I just think for me, my body for some reason was calling for these other foods. And by being in tune with myself, I was able to say, I'm going to honor this calling. I'm going to listen, and I am going to consume what I feel called to consume. And when I'm eating things and I feel really bad afterwards, really bloated, you know, uncomfortable, then obviously something about that food didn't sit right with me. And it's just about starting to be really honest about, you know, how does the body feel? And that's why it's also like, we're all different. So I can't sit here and say, all of you should be eating meat and dairy. Like, no, if you are only eating plants and you are feeling great in your body, then you need to keep just eating plants. I have plenty of close friends who are extremely healthy. They look good. Their energy's good. And they're eating only plants. So yeah, you have to honor yourself, not just even physically, but also mentally. I would say also during the time I was vegan, I noticed that I was more emotional, and I feel like I was a little bit less grounded, like in my emotions. I feel like once I started incorporating eating some meat and eggs again, I noticed that I'm even more calm in ways. Like I really noticed that mentally, like I would be, you know, sometimes just lost, upset, you know, like it's hard to even explain, but it's a clear distinction between then and now, as far as like me being way more emotional and way less grounded mentally, and now feeling like super, like I can handle my emotions a lot better. So there was something to that as well. And to be honest, I have seen, in particular with certain men I've met who were vegan, this emotional instability. And again, I'm not like even trying to make this a whole thing and blame it just on the fact that they're vegan. Obviously, it's other stuff going on there, but it's multiple that I have met. In particular, the men. Women who I've met who are vegan have tended to be very emotionally stable. But some of the men I've met who were vegan were a little wild, you know, a little bit abusive even to their women. I'm looking at them like, you supposed to be over here healthy, but your actions is not reflecting that. So I would be amiss if I didn't bring that up. I even have a good friend who's vegan. She's been vegan long term, and she just made a post about this on her story about like vegan men and like, yeah, like, and it's not even to say it's because they're vegan. It's also other stuff, but even like their like idea that they're better than anybody because of that. But then there's still work they haven't done. And it's like, boy, you need to ground yourself. You need to ground yourself because you're still a little wild. You're a little wild. You don't know how to treat nobody. You care so much about animals, but you don't care about women. Like, get it all the way together. Get that all the way together. So I have witnessed that even firsthand when I was in a relationship with a man who was vegan, very emotionally unstable. Whereas in my experience with men who have a more, like, incorporate a few other things in their diet, I found them to be a bit more grounded, again, mentally, like mentally being clear. So I do feel like there are benefits in consuming life that, like, I don't know, that brings some sort of balance. But I don't want to speak out of turn because, again, I am not a scientist. I have not done the research. Like, my research has been watching other YouTube videos and maybe reading a few articles. But I'm not here to teach y'all nothing. I'm just here to share my story because this is what it's been for me. And I would love to hear your stories as well. So let's continue to unpack it in the comment section. Thank you so much for listening. I know this was a long one. I had a mouthful to share. But I really appreciate everyone who taps in, who listens to the whole video. I send you my love. Mwah. And of course, I hope you find serenity.